In this exercise, we're going to learn about Microsoft Purview auto labeling. And we're going to learn how to create an auto labeling policy and things like that. All right, so now let's go back to the Purview portal. Okay, I'm going to log into the portal, which is using by Johnny, not the administrator, because we've been using that compliance administrator, Johnny, for all our testing so far. All right, so the auto labeling allows the labels to be automatically applied to the content that meets the configured specification. So in the previous example, what we learned, not just before, one before that, was how to create the sensitivity label. And when we created that, it allowed the user to manually apply the label. So here, what if we don't want to rely on a user to apply the label? What if it should be automatically applied based on a particular condition? So that is what we are going to learn. So to do that, again, we are under information protection. Within that, click on sensitivity labels. And let's pick one of these labels. So I'm going to hover my mouse over to the confidential one. And let's go to the vertical ellipses. Here you can perform a lot of actions. We have seen that in the previous example. So I'm going to click on this vertical ellipses. And we are going to click on create auto labeling policy. So click on that. So this allows you to create a name for the new auto labeling policy out of that confidential main policy. So I'm going to remove the name and we're going to provide a new name. I'm going to call it as US Social Security Number Confidential Auto Labeling Policy. The objective is if at any place of the document, if it could identify a US Social Security number, it should automatically apply this label what we are going to create. If you want, you can provide a description, and if not, click on next. So where do you want to apply or auto apply this label? So you have to choose label to auto apply. So click on choose a label. I'm going to select confidential all employees. Click on add. And there is a warning which is showcasing that because the encryption is turned on, a lot of content in the organization is going to be automatically encrypted because this label is going to be applied, because wherever it can find that information, it is going to automatically encrypt all of that data. So click next. So if you want to add admin units, this is where you can provide that. We are not going to add that. Click next. Under locations, I'm going to select turn this scope on for Exchange Mail, SharePoint sites, and OneDrive. So wherever it can find that data, it is going to apply this label. Click next. And let's go back one more time. You can see that it is going to automatically apply the label to OneDrive and SharePoint, unlabeled documents and PDF files as well, not only the Word document. So that is quite good. Click next. So here, this is where we can set up the common rules or advanced rules. So if you want to define advanced settings, you can do that. I'm going to select the common rules and click next. And this is where you would be able to define what rule it is. So let's click on create a new rule and give a name for what we are trying to achieve. So we are going to create a rule for US Social Security number, and the description is this will be applied to the content which contains a US Social Security number. And under conditions, click on add conditions. There are many options here. Depends on if the condition contains something or content is shared or file extension type is this and things like that. We are going to select if the content contains, select that option. Click on add. What is it going to be contained? I'm going to select a sensitive information type. Within that, we have a predefined list of sensitive information type, which is already defined by Microsoft. So in the first few exercises, we learned how we can create a sensitive information type ourselves. But here we are going to leverage the one provided by Microsoft. You can actually pick one of these and create or modify yourself as well. So here we are going to search for the US Social Security number and let's hit enter. So you can see that there is a sensitive information type available to detect US Social Security number. Click on add and click on save. And now we can see that under define rules for content in all location that is being added, the status is turned on. If you have multiple rules, this is where you can turn off and turn on certain things, and you can come in here, modify the policy and exactly modify the common rules as well. Click next. Additional settings for email. Do you want to automatically replace existing labels, or do you want to apply encryption to email received outside of your organization? If you want to further configure this, you can do that. I'm not going to modify anything. Click next. Here we are going to select, do you want to decide if you want to test this policy now or later? If you want to run this in a simulation mode, you can automatically run this, and you can automatically turn on this policy if not modified after 7 days in the simulation, or you can leave the policy turned off. So click next, and I'm going to click on create this policy. So that's how you create a auto labeling policy. So we have learned two things. One, we have learned custom policy, and we have learned how to create custom sensitivity types as well. In this, we used a default sensitivity type like US social security number, and you have seen many examples of other sensitivity types available, and we have used one of that to create an auto labeling policy. Be mindful that this replication of this particular new policy can take up to 24 hours, and you will not be able to see the results of the auto labeling policy in this lab because of the time constraints. So if you want to test this out in your own lab so that you can actually wait out for the policy to be created and to be replicated automatically in your organization, so that there is no dependency for you to actually check things like that. You can see that, hey, the auto labeling policy is created. You are protected using the sensitivity data, and click on done. In the next exercise, we are going to learn how we are going to use encryption with Office 365. Within that, we are going to learn how to enable encryption on an email, and we are going to verify the email encryption as well. So to do the email encryption part, so we are not going to do that in the Purview portal. So I'm sure by this now, all the exercises so far we have gone through, you are quite familiar with the Purview, at least in the aspect of information protection, not other aspects like information protection, sensitivity labels, things like that. Now what we are going to do is we are going to go to office.com. So let's go to a new tab and go to office.com, and we're going to sign in as Johnny itself, because Johnny is a compliance manager in my organization. So Johnny have all the controls and privileges to manage anything to do with compliance related activities. So sign in. Because I have signed in with other portals here, so it automatically takes me to the Office portal. By default, you get these messages. Click OK, skip for now. On the left hand top corner, you can see this waffle. Click on Outlook, and let's create a new email, and let's open in a new expanded format. Here I'm gonna send an email to myself, and in the subject I'm gonna provide encryption test message and give some information in the body, like this test message is to see the encryption functionality built into Microsoft Purview. And when you go under options before sending the email, if you are able to spot this lock icon, that means that is an encryption option. So you can see, do you want to encrypt this message? Do not forward, no permission set, things like that. So I'm going to select encrypt, and you can send. So before sending this, I want to quickly show you additional options. Like when you go under this message, if you click on this ellipsis, you can see the sensitivity as well. So this allows you to apply sensitivity labels we created, like confidential, highly confidential. Within that, we created something for the HR, internal, things like that. So all of that is available here as well. So now let's go and test the encryption option. So I'm going to click on send. All right, so this is the email I've received. Even though it is not a spam message, I can click on show messages. You can see that it's clearly marked as encrypted. And if you want to read the message, you can see that who sent it. It's clearly an encrypted message. Click on read message, and you have to either sign in to verify or sign in with the one-time passcode. So you will get a passcode in your email box for verifying from Microsoft. and you can click on continue after putting the passcode. Alright, so now because it's an encrypted message, I can see now I can read the message after validating through Microsoft. This is the test encryption message we have sent. Now you have successfully learned how Purview is encrypting these email messages, even though we didn't apply the sensitivity labels, but we learned the encryption aspect of Purview by applying encryption in the email. Now, in this lab exercise, we are going to learn about data security for Microsoft 365 with Copilot. Alright, so now let's go back to our Purview portal for this particular exercise, and let's go under information protection, click on sensitivity labels, and this time we are going to select the highly confidential. Oh, why is it not working? Okay, I'm going to quickly refresh this page. Alright, so now let's go and hover your mouse over the highly confidential one and click on this vertical ellipsis and click on edit label. Here you can see the basic details. We are not going to modify anything. Click on next. Define the scope. We are not going to make any changes here. Click on next. On choose protection setting type for items you selected, I'm going to select the control access. Click next. On the access control, I'm going to select configure access control settings. Alright, so now let's go to assign permission to specific users and group. Click on assign permissions. Here on the assign permissions flyout, we can add all users and groups in your organization. And if you scroll down further for additional customization, you can click on choose permissions. Here I have the editor option, so let's choose the custom option, and this is where you would be able to modify it to custom options like view rights, edit content, save, print, reply all, forward, and I'm going to select allow macros. I'm going to remove the full control, export, edit rights, copy, extract, and things like that. And click on save, save again, click next, next. So the whole reason why we are doing is, let me quickly go back and show that. Okay, the whole reason why we are doing this particular control is, let's go back to the assign permission. If you see that when I chose the permission and when I chose the custom permission here, if you remove the access of copy and extract content, this prevents the data from being extracted by Copilot. So that's the reason why we are doing this work. So when you do that, select that. So not this, completely opposite what we did, like choose permissions, custom, remove that part, view right, edit right, things like that, and save it, cancel, and click next, 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 and save the label. So now this data security for M365 with Copilot, what we learned is removing the right to data extraction is a proactive step towards data security and privacy and compliance. And it aligns with responsible data management practices and protects your organization's valuable assets. So in case if you are using Copilot within your organization and you want to prevent sensitive data from interacting with Copilot, this is a label which you can apply, and click done. And based on the condition of that particular label, it is gonna do its work. In the last exercise, we are going to check the actions with the Activity Explorer. So Activity Explorer is a tool designed to help organizations monitor and analyze data activities related to the use and management of sensitive information. So let's go back. So if you remember, in the beginning of the exercise, we started with going into solutions and auditing. And in the Activity Explorer, we turned on the audit capability. So when you do that, when you click on audit, if the auditing is being turned on, you can actually come in here and filter things like, what do you want to see? I can see the friendly name, choose a time, keyword search, what do you want to see, activities, and that allows you to choose activities, and you can search based on a keyword, or you can use these friendly names to pick up the activities, whatever you feel like, and based on that you would see the result on this particular. You can see that a job for this particular audit trail is being queued, And once this is completed, you can actually go in and see the audit trail based on that. But instead of the keyword search, what I would encourage is to go and play around with this friendly names activity operations record to fine tune, and which will give you much better result in terms of what you are trying to find, what information you are looking for, what type of audit trial you are after, and things like that. Additionally, you can go under home. We looked into information protection, so go find information protection. Inside there is explorers, and you can find activity explorer. This is an additional place where you can come in and actually look for activities. You can see there are quite a lot of activities happen today. You can see that there is a file label removed, label applied, file read, file discovered. So in an organization, you can see this will be popped up with so many meaningful insight for which you can actually click on it and look into it to probe further information and things like that. So I hope the information provided in this lab was helpful. I will see you on the next one. Until then, take care.